This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
.45, this is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Danushka Medavala, read by Soundit Avam. The President calls for a global response to tackle climate change. Approximately 52,000 acres of paddy lands across the country have suffered crop losses. Sri Lanka to ban single-use plastic products from October 1st. The results of the 2022 Advanced Level Examination will be released before the 10th of September. Newly appointed envoys present credentials to President Wickremesinghe. Adjournment debate on Sri Lanka cricket in Parliament today. In foreign news, Wagner chief Yevgeny Prigozhin dead after Russia plane crash. And in sports, NBA fines James Harden $100,000 for threatening not to play for Philadelphia 76ers. President Ranil Wickremesinghe has underscored Sri Lanka's commitment to climate action and international collaboration. President Wickremesinghe made this assertion during a progress review meeting on climate change initiatives at the Presidential Secretariat yesterday. The meeting, presided over by President Ranil Wickremesinghe, brought together key advisers and experts to discuss strategies to strengthen the nation's response to climate change. Addressing the meeting, President Wickremesinghe stressed the importance of resilience on both local and global fronts. The head of state said that finance is the lifeblood of any endeavour and the country needs to build substantial strength in this arena. President Wickremesinghe's call for action was backed by his observation that while numerous climate change initiatives are proposed, limited attention is given to the vital matter of financing. The President said Sri Lanka's expertise in international economics, especially in climate financing linked to debt management, positions Sri Lanka uniquely. President Wickremesinghe also proposed the establishment of a National Consultative Committee with the involvement of the private and public sector agencies. The Agriculture and Agrarian Insurance Board reports that approximately 52,000 acres of paddy fields across the country have suffered crop losses. This was mentioned in the latest report compiled by the Agricultural and Agrarian Insurance Board assessing the crop damages and was handed over to the Agriculture Minister Mahinda Amravira yesterday. The number of paddy farmers affected by the arid weather stands at 45,000. The highest extent of crop damage is reported from the Kurunegala district. Hambantota, Polonnaruwa and Anuradhapura are the other districts severely affected by the drought. Meanwhile, the water level of many water reservoirs is reported to be decreasing rapidly. Castlereagh, Samanalavawa and Mausakale reservoirs are among them. The residents of Beliatta, Tangala and Ranna are facing a shortage of drinking water. The Central Environment Authority says the manufacture and sale of single-use plastic products will be banned in Sri Lanka with effect from October 1st, 2023. Thereby, the manufacture and sale of single-use plastic straws, stirrers, cups, plates, knives, forks and spoons, as well as plastic string hopper trays and garland products will be prohibited in the country. In February this year, the Cabinet of Ministers green-lighted a proposal tabled by the Environmental Minister to ban several plastic products in the country. Accordingly, the production and importation, selling and the use of the items will not be allowed in Sri Lanka. On October 30th, 2021, the Cabinet of Ministers took into account a proposal seeking permission to prohibit 7 single-use plastic, polythene and plastic products in the country. Subsequently, a committee of experts was appointed to look into the matter and to submit a report containing the necessary recommendations. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The Commissioner General of Examinations, Amit Jayasundara, says that the results of the 2022 Advanced Level Examination will be released before the 10th of September. The Commissioner General of Examinations earlier said that they were expecting to release the results of the 2022 GC Advanced Level Examination in August. The Education Ministry has already announced the dates of the 2023 GCE Advanced Level Examination. Accordingly, the national exam is scheduled to be held from the 27th of November to the 21st of December. Two newly appointed ambassadors and a High Commissioner to Sri Lanka presented their credentials to President Ranil Wickremesinghe in a formal ceremony held at the Presidential Secretariat yesterday. The appointments of the two distinguished ambassadors for the Republic of Italy and the Federal Republic of Germany, along with the designation of a new High Commissioner for the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, assumed their roles as representatives of their respective countries and had the honour of formally introducing themselves to President Wickremesinghe. The ceremony was attended by Sagala Ratnayaka, Senior Advisor to the President on National Security and Chief of the Presidential Staff, who warmly received the envoys upon their arrival. That concludes Local News.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
An adjournment debate on Sri Lanka cricket will take place in Parliament today. Parliament is scheduled to convene at 9:30 a.m. According to the order paper, the resolution under the Essential Public Services Act by the President, published in the Gazette notification of 2341/3, is scheduled to be approved without a debate this morning. Thereafter, the adjournment debate on Sri Lanka cricket will be held from 10:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and came to you in the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Watch Live is brought to you by
CIB Janajaya Vasana. Unbelievable discounts and offers throughout August from CIB Janajaya Vasana. Come today itself.
The officers of the Illegal Assets Investigation Division of the Criminal Investigation Department arrested a woman recently who had cheated a large number of people living in Galle and its surroundings by defrauding a large number of people and investing their money, promising high interests in local and foreign companies. Locally, she is said to be investing in a liquor business and a money-lending business. From the year 2019 to the year 2023, for more than 4 years, it has been revealed in the investigations that she has been taking money and engaged in this activity, and came to you in Watchlight.
CIB Janajaya Vasana. Unbelievable discounts and offers throughout August from CIB Janajaya Vasana. Come today itself.
Moving on to a bulletin of world news making headlines this morning. Wagner chief Yevgeny Prigozhin dead after Russia plane crash. US approves potential $500 million sale of military equipment to Taiwan. And more than 1,000 still missing in Maui fires as search continues. A Russian mercenary leader, Yevgeny Prigozhin, was on the passenger list of a jet which crashed in Russia, killing all 10 people on board, Russia's Civil Aviation Authority says. Social media linked to the Wagner mercenary group say his private plane was shot down by Russian air defenses. Prigozhin's aircraft, an Embraer 135, was flying from Moscow to St. Petersburg on Wednesday with 7 passengers and 3 crew, Russia's aviation authority said. Senior Wagner commander Dmitry Utkin, who founded the group, was also on the passenger list, it said. Prigozhin has been keeping a low public profile since heading his short-lived mutiny in June, which lasted only 24 hours. He last appeared in a video earlier this week, which is said to have been filmed in an unspecified location in Africa. The Wagner mercenary group was founded in 2014 and was highly active in the Ukraine war until the June mutiny. The United States government has approved a potential $500 million sale of military equipment to Taiwan, a move likely to stir simmering tensions with China. Nevertheless, in a statement on Wednesday, the U.S. Department of State sought to quell concerns about the proposed sale, which would include infrared search and track systems, munitions support and equipment for F-16 fighter jet program. The sale is set to be negotiated with the defense and aerospace company Lockheed Martin. A final deal has not yet been signed. Hours before the announcement, Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-wen visited a memorial in Kinmen Island where Taiwanese and Chinese forces fought in August 1958 during the Second Taiwan Strait Crisis. More than 1,000 people still remain unaccounted for after a wildfire ripped through Hawaiian town of Lahaina 2 weeks ago, officials said. Authorities are now expected to make public a list of the missing in the coming days to try to narrow the search. Some search teams combing through the rubble are finding only bones or fragments of bodies, which makes the task difficult. The official death toll stands at 115. The blazes destroyed most of the historic Maui town of Lahaina on 8 August, and the fires are now considered the worst natural disaster in Hawaii's state history. At a press conference on Tuesday, FBI Special Agent Stephen Merrill, overseeing the search, said, We may not know in the end about everybody. Back to the headlines of the world news. Wagner chief Yevgeny Prigozhin dead after Russia plane crash. The US approves potential $500 million sale of military equipment to Taiwan. And more than 1,000 still missing in Maui, fires as search continues. With that, we conclude this bulletin of world news.
Development News is brought to you by
Job opportunities for well-experienced housemaids and home cooks in Saudi Arabia and Kuwait for ages 40 to 58 years. Salary 125,000 rupees. Contact 037 7500 500.
Sri Lankan Airlines has issued a request for proposals for the wet lease of a single narrow body for 6 weeks starting in mid-September 2023 to cover for one of its in-house aircraft, which will be undergoing maintenance. The state-owned airline did not specify the type it was seeking, but requires the aircraft to be configured for at least 150 passengers in a dual-class layout. It is seeking exclusively used aircraft certified for 120 minutes or more ETOPS. While in-flight connectivity and entertainment systems are not mandatory, they would be advantageous. That came to you in Development News.
Job opportunities for women from Deshakti Lanka in Saudi Arabia, Kuwait and Oman. Housemaids and home cooks in Saudi Arabia, ages 40 to 58 years. Arabic speaking and well-experienced home cooks. Salary 135,000 rupees. Interviews are now on with foreign agents. You can travel overseas free of charge now. Branches Colombo, Kurunegala, Anuradhapura and Matara. Contact number 0377 500 500. Deshakti Lanka Foreign Employment Agency.
Moving on to sports news. James Harden has been fined $100,000 by the NBA for saying he would not play for the Philadelphia 76ers while President Daryl Morey was in charge. The guard called Morey a liar in an interview after reports the 76ers had ended talks about trading him. Harden, 33, was reportedly keen to join the LA Clippers before talks faltered. In response, the National Basketball Players Association said, quote, "We respectfully disagree with the league's decision to discipline James Harden for recent comments he made, which we believe do not violate the rule against public trade demands," unquote, and came to you in sports news.
Go ekaktiana youth ekat life eke change ekat niyameta set wenna as wahagena dakapu hina habe karanna youth ekat niyameta set wenna friendship එක menna.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The National Savings Bank, a premier savings bank, has announced that the bank has been recognized as one of the 10 most admired companies in Sri Lanka in the 2022 by the International Chamber of Commerce, Sri Lanka, in collaboration with the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants and AICPA. The event was held for the 5th time recently at the Courtyard by Marriott Hotel. Having been established with the original mandate of inculcating the habit of saving among the people of Sri Lanka, NSB has flourished to be one of the strongest and safest financial institutions in the country, firmly rooted in the soils and the hearts of the people of Sri Lanka. That's Business News.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekaktiana youth ekat life eke change ekat niyameta set wenna as wahagena dakapu hina habe karanna youth ekat niyameta set wenna friendship එක menna.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
On to economic news. In a bid to expand the Katunayake International Airport to meet the increased number of passenger traffic, steps will be taken to construct a terminal building on a temporary basis. This will be done within 6 months, said the Minister of Ports, Shipping and Aviation, Nimal Siripala de Silva. While the existing airlines flying to Colombo have added frequency, new airlines have added Colombo to their radar. With the winter season coming and Sri Lanka averaging over 125,000 arrivals per month, the airport needed to be expanded. A state-of-the-art passenger terminal building on par with global requirements was planned and is expected to be opened in late 2024. He said this while participating as the chief guest in a conference held at the Katunayake Airport on Tuesday on how to contribute to the research process of this sector to take Sri Lanka's aviation industry towards sustainable development through digitization. That came to you in economic news.
Weather report.
A few showers will occur in the western and Sabragama provinces and in the Galle and Matara districts. Showers and thundershowers will occur at a few places in the central and Uva provinces and in the Ampara, Batticaloa and the Polonnaruwa districts during the evening or night. Mainly fair weather will prevail elsewhere over the island. The general public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during thundershowers. To conclude this bulletin of news, a recap of the headlines. The present global response to tackle climate change. Approximately 52,000 acres of paddy lands across the country have suffered crop losses. Sri Lanka to ban single-use plastic products from October 1st. The results of the 2022 A-level examination will be released before 10th September. Newly appointed envoys present credentials to President Wickremesinghe. Adjournment debate on Sri Lanka cricket in Parliament today. Wagner chief Yevgeny Prigozhin dead after Russia plane crash. And NBA fines James Harden $100,000 for threatening not to play for the Philadelphia 76ers. With that, we conclude this morning's news broadcast.